Grace is a woman in her mid-30s. She's around 35 and she has a baby girl. She's called Emma. The girl is around 5 years old. And what happens is Grace is actually like going through a divorce with her ex-husband. And one thing happens, you guys. Imagine, like, Grace is, she's going to become a single mom. She actually like starts like looking for a job, and she looks for a job, she finds a job, and she becomes extra busy. So of course she cannot like be able to take care of the baby and also take care of like her work, make sure that she shows up everywhere. So of course any normal person would need a housekeeper. So she goes to this agency. And the agency, they actually like give people housekeepers. So what happens is the housekeeper who was recommended to her is actually called Lisa. Lisa shows up to the house because Lisa has this long resume, like a lot of CVs, like everybody like recommends Lisa because they know that Lisa does a really, really good job, right? So what happens is the lady called Lisa comes and shows up to the house. You guys, Lisa is everything that any woman would need. Like she cooks, she cleans, she takes care of the baby, and the baby called Emma loves Lisa. Like Lisa is the best housekeeper anybody could ever need. So 2 days go by, and of course, Grace has seen how like Lisa is treating Emma well, and so she decides, you know what, I'm going to actually like leave them, the two of them here, and I have to go to work. I have to travel outside country, so I'll have to just go. So what happens is Lisa like comes and tells Grace, you know what, I'll take care of the baby, she'll be fine, I'll feed her, I'll be calling you every single day, I'll be video calling you, you can see the baby, I'll be sending you photos of whatever the baby is doing so that you can feel safe inside your heart whenever you know that I am like with the baby. The time to go comes for Grace, and what Grace does is she actually like tells them in the car parking, like the two of you stand there, like Lisa, the baby, the housekeeper, and the small girl Emma, and she tells them, you know what, let me take a picture of you two like together. So what does she do? She takes a picture. Immediately, like there's this taxi man who's supposed to take her to the airport. Like he starts honking the car, telling like Grace, it's time to let's go. What happens is, when Grace was going to take the photo, Lisa, the housekeeper, you see, like immediately the photo is going to be taken. Like immediately, like Grace was about to snap the photo. What does Lisa does? She pretends to sneeze, and she does like this. Achoo! So of course, like the picture was like this. But since the like man was honking the car too much, like the taxi driver, like Grace has to just go, and Grace, Lisa is like, you know what, I'll send you photos. Don't worry, I'll send you photos of me and the baby, and you can, if you want, you can just keep them. And so Grace agrees to go. Wow, you guys, let me tell you. Immediately, like Grace arrives to the hotel. It's in Australia. She went to Australia to like for a business meeting. She goes and she calls Lisa over the phone. Lisa is not picking the call. She goes and like she starts like, at least like trying to try to see the baby. The baby is not like the phone is not being called. Actually, it has been put on voicemail, by the way. So what happens is like Grace starts to panic because she's like, where is Emma? What is happening? Plus Emma's birthday was coming up, and you remember they're not in good terms with the baby daddy, who is also the ex-husband. So she didn't tell him that she was leaving the child with the housekeeper. She just went, and they were actually arguing over the phone. So she didn't have much to tell the guy. So what happened is, like, after a while, like she got nervous. She started calling. It's still going on voicemail. She's trying to leave voicemails, like nothing is happening. So you know what? She calls the boss and she's like, you know what? I'm going to just go back to America because I have a strong feeling that something is happening and something is not right. So she immediately gets back on a flight to go back to America. Upon arrival, shock of the life. Immediately, like she gets to the gate, she finds police cars outside the vicinity, her house, and it's you see those yellow tapes written like crime scene, do not cross. Those ones, it's there, like they're surrounding the place, and what happens is they find a policewoman there, and the policewoman tells them, you know what, you cannot come in right now. And Grace is like, my baby is inside there. And I'm like, and the policewoman was like, where did you leave your house? Where did you leave your baby? And she's like, you know what, I left my baby with the housekeeper. And then, so the policewoman told her, you know what, like, woman, there's no housekeeper here. Your baby was found locked inside the house, and the neighbors heard the baby crying, and they had to call the police. Turns out the baby had suffered from malnutrition, and the baby had been abandoned for a while, and they had to like take the baby to the nearest like hospital so that the baby can receive like medical treatment, because the baby had suffered from severe malnutrition. The question is, where is the housekeeper? Right? Where is the housekeeper? So you know what happens is, like, the woman immediately like storms off, like Grace storms off immediately and rushes to the nearby hospital in the area, and she finds like the baby there with the father. And the father like was there yelling and asking like, how could you like neglect our baby to the point where you're like, you don't care, like, you just leave our baby and you go to the country, and you couldn't even bother to tell me so that you can come and take care of the baby. You just left. And Grace was like, I left the housekeeper there. They also didn't feel like it's my need to tell you, you know what, we're divorced. Like, okay, the divorce is still in progress, but still, whatever. So what happens is, she goes, like, Grace goes, and after like, and goes and sees the baby, because like the nurse had said like, don't take a lot of time with the baby because the baby is not feeling okay, like she's like, the baby is not feeling okay, so she needs a lot of rest. After like a few minutes, what happens, the baby like, the police officers like come in, and they're like, you know what, Grace, we are arresting you for burglary of the house. You rained terror on your ex-husband's house, and you stole a lot of expensive jewelry, and they have been found in your garage, so there's no way you can defend yourself. And Grace is there like asking like, what do you mean, like, you know me, like, why would you want to arrest me over something that you know very well that I've not done? Grace is there like, she's explaining everything, she's doing everything. All of a sudden, she's put on handcuffs and she leaves. Yeah, she's put on handcuffs immediately, and she just has to go, because like, there's no like explanation for whatever she has done. Like, you know, you can't like explain yourself so much. Immediately, like, Grace is arrested, she's bailed out by her mom, and like, she has to just go. So she goes back, and when like she got to the police station, you know, there's this place where you have to like explain yourself. I don't know, it's called the interrogation room or something like that. So she's taken to the interrogation room, and she's asked a lot of questions, and the police officer was like, you, honestly speaking, like, why would you leave your baby alone in the house, locked up in a room, and you go to the extent of even leaving the continent? And Grace was like, no, you guys don't understand, I left a housekeeper there. And they asked the neighbor, did you like see a housekeeper here? And the neighbor was like, no, I just had the baby crying, and I decided to call you guys because I found out the baby had been neglected. So one thing that happened is, the housekeeper was nowhere to be seen. Like, the housekeeper had vanished in thin air. Even the name that, okay, one thing that she did, the policewoman did, she asked, what is the name of that baby, of that housekeeper? And immediately she said the name Lisa. They kind of looked for Lisa in the systems, and they couldn't find a Lisa. So the question was, who is that Lisa that you're talking about? And let me tell you, for a fact, she had left a housekeeper in that house. No woman who loves her baby in her right senses would leave a baby and abandoned, like a baby abandoned, and, you know, like, not leave a housekeeper in the house. So the question is, where is the babysitter? Stay tuned for part 2, you guys.